Hello, and today we are going to be looking at the complete, as of 2022, I should specify April of 2022 in case we get another set this year, set of the newer Hogwarts modular buildings. Because I've been wanting to talk about these for quite a while now. I'm just wanting to go over some of the upsides and some of the downsides to this newer Hogwarts module system. And so we'll start over here with some of the smaller sets, and then we'll move on to the larger sets and then talk about how they all go together. So easily the hardest to find set for this is going to be this set right here. Now, starting with this set here, you may not actually even recognize it if you haven't seen it in another review or anything, because this side, the exterior here, was never shown off in any of the promotional imaging or even on the box art for this set. And the side that you will recognize is this side here. Now, this is the Gryffindor dorms. That was a promotional set that came out alongside a bunch of the other Harry Potter sets. Notably, it at the time it came out, it did not come out at the time of a new release of any of these other modular type buildings. It came out with the new release of some other like buildable characters and buildable objects and stuff, and so it was used as a way to get the people who, like me, are buying the new modular Hogwarts system to try and get us to buy some of the other Harry Potter sets that were not that. Now, I didn't. I got this off of Bricklink. It ended up costing me like $40, which isn't great, but I mean, I have it now, and it will probably only go up in price. Though, in hindsight, unless you really want the figures that this set comes with, I would highly recommend going onto Bricklink and just parting the set out, and then finding some instructions online, because it's definitely cheaper that way. Now, it won't come with all of these cards here, which I've got, I believe, let's see, I'm missing 5. I've got 11 of these cards here, and these are all the unique ones that I have. I have gotten some duplicates as I've collected these, but the interesting part about this one is that, as you can see there and there, the parts that keep card holder in place are some of these 1 by 8 modified plates that have a little spot that you can slide things in and out of there. Now, they've never been produced in tan, but this black color they had been produced in before this set. However, it was a more rare color for that piece. But ultimately, looking at the front, I really think that Lego should have made it in a tan. And if one day they do, I might go through and just swap these out for a tan. But even the more common color for it, the light bluish gray for this piece, I think would have looked better on the exterior. I really don't think this black bar on the exterior looks great. And I think Lego knew that too, and I think that's why the exterior was never shown on any of their promotional images for it. Which, yeah, that kind of sucks. But so then putting this back in there, and then moving on. A lot of these, I'm not going to go super in depth with. You can check out a lot of these reviews on Cheesy Studios channel. I'd highly recommend his reviews of these, as well as Just Too Good has done reviews of some of these. But so we've got the bathroom here, and notable about it is this sink that lifts up, and then from there you can access the Chamber of Secrets, and that will be all that we really need to know of note with this, as we put them all together. Then we've got this little clock tower slash hospital wing from this year, which, as you can see, is pretty tall there. Now, this set I really like. I think it looks pretty good. The issue that I take with it, for the most part, is that and I understand why they did it, but I don't like that these three are all connected. That, due to these little hinge pieces, there and there, and there and there, you can't actually take these three sections apart. As well as another issue that I have, that I think it would look better if these windows were either the brown and black of the older windows that we got from the previous sets, or if you wanted to specifically have the hospital have the white windows, I think that's fine. I think you can do that, but I think that up here, I think this window should have definitely been black, much like this window. And then the only other real gripe that I have with this clock tower set is that the actual clock tower here is made as a module for this module Hogwarts. However, it is made to be the 8 studs by 8 studs that the rest of them, the rest of the singular modules are. Now many of them, like the bathroom or the dorms, are the 8 by 16 studs, but the clock tower is the 8 by 8. However, if you've noticed on the actual hospital wing, the clock tower is offset by about 2 studs. And so if you try and line it up with the other modules, it won't connect. And in fact, it creates this weird thing. And while you could set it back, those 2 studs, it creates this weird issue of this ledge that's just sort of there. I really wish that the Lego designers had, considered that more. I would have, if I were in their shoes, I would have simply made the clock tower 2 studs deeper and pushed these archway pieces back a little bit, as well as these pinhole connectors, so that it would line up with any of the other modules. But unfortunately, that's just not really something that happened with this set. I don't know whether or not they considered it or anything like that, but the way that the set came and the way it is that it is offset by those 2 studs. So if we go ahead and we move this to the side, that's another thing where on a lot of these I haven't had an issue too much with. A lot of these have this back piece that you can remove. I haven't had an issue too much because they're only over those 14 studs, whereas this one, I guess, this one's a little bit longer. Moving that aside, oh, fuck. Now, the only other set that I want to talk about really in depth is this Hogwarts First Flight set. Now, important detail, just quick thing that I wanted to add about the hospital there is that I am still really surprised and delighted that the designers made this Skelegro bottle the way they did, and that they finally made, which I honestly never thought Lego would, make this this baby skull, and that's just really interesting, where if we take it and we take Baby Yoda here, we can make a couple interesting combinations. We can, make a bottle of grow, and then we can also make Baby Dead. Yeah. But moving on to the Hogwarts First Flight set. Now I did buy this one as well, used off of Bricklink, because this one was an exclusive to Kohl's in North America. What my Kohl's never got it in stock, at least not as far as I saw. And so I had to buy it used off of Bricklink, which it came in pretty good condition. It came with some of the wrong colored pieces, so I am going to have to go through and swap those out eventually. But then turning it around, we can see that it's really simple. Just two of these 8x8 module rooms. Really useful for what we're doing. However, this doorway is really weird because it either needs to be shrunk by 2 studs on each side to make it 8 long like the other modules, or it needs to be expanded because right now it's at this weird... Now, this isn't the only time in the original wave of these Hogwarts modular buildings that Lego made a 12 stud long part, which the other one comes from the biggest set, which is the new Hogwarts main hall and Chamber of Secrets, where you can see that the door here is also a thinner module, as well as only being the 10 studs wide here. Oh, was that one 10 then? Sorry, I'm trying to think, right? So, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that's 6, 10. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I don't... So this is 10 studs wide, not 12. I don't know why I said 12. Yeah, bad math on my part. 10 studs wide. But, so yeah, so either you need to take off a stud on each side, or expand it by 6 studs to make it congruent with the rest of the module system. As well as, I don't like that this door, it comes down lower than the other modules, and the roof is not detachable like the other modules, and so it makes it really difficult to be able to actually do anything with it, which is really unfortunate in the grand scheme of things. So now that we've taken a more in-depth look at the Hogwarts modules that I wanted to really take a closer look at, I'd like to go over how they should properly be put together. Now, of course, you can put them together in any way that you would like. But as we can see here, this is the back of the instructions of this hospital wing. If I can get that glare gone. And so, flipping to the back, we can see that combining all three of them, or the main hall with the fluffy set and then the bathroom is there. And then they just sort of show the hospital wing off to the side, and not being combined with those, which I think is a little unfortunate, because I can understand why they wouldn't want to, include the Hogwarts Gryffindor dorms, or the Quidditch set. I can see why they might not want to include those on the back of the instructions, because they are more rare. However, I wish that, the more common ones, like the clock tower / hospital wing here, I wish Lego would keep updating in their instructions how the castle should be put together. Now, in their instructions, the way they say that the castle should be put together, I find to be really weird, all in all, when things are said and done. Because ultimately, this one, I understand that they were somewhat trying to remake a old set that they made previously. However, I don't think they, I think that either this could have used a lot more work as a module, or they should have just not included it. Because, it looks really good from this angle, but that's not something that's going on the back of your, or on the exterior of your Hogwarts castle, right? Because that looks weird on the exterior. But then meanwhile, this also doesn't look great on your exterior of your Hogwarts castle. So for me, putting this together, we're just gonna discard this section, and then the basilisk as well. It's a really cool build. I really like it, but for the purposes of putting this castle together, we're gonna just remove it for a second. So if we move over and we start with, actually, you know what, let's start with the Great Hall over here. Because the Great Hall, on most images of Hogwarts, is off to the farthest left of the castle. And so we'll start it over there. And I hope if you can see it. So we'll start it over here, putting it on the farthest left of the table, to make it the farthest left of the castle. Now, this is Another issue that I run into with the Hogwarts module system, I really like the system, I do, but I think that it does have some issues with these longer module sections that they want to make. Because these are 3 of those individual module sections long. And I think that oftentimes Lego, when designing these, felt that that module system was constraining, which, don't get me wrong, it definitely is, but these 2 modules are attached together because this front of the Gryffindor, or not Gryffindor, of the Hogwarts Hall, or this back of it here, that is all attached to these lower, the Chamber of Secrets, and the Salazar Slytherin head. And then the roof up here, we're going to keep on, and it also has a little bit of an issue. Let's lift our camera up so you can see where these roofs are 6 studs long, whereas the other roofs, so if we grab one here from the clock tower or hospital wing, you can see they are 4 studs long. Now, ultimately, it's not really an issue, because when you look at most images of Hogwarts, the roof on top of the Great Hall is more steep than a lot of the other roof on the different parts of Hogwarts. And so ultimately it's not an issue. It's just, it's more of an issue as to the modular building sense of it, where, you know, if we take this roof and we want to put it next to the Great Hall, suddenly it looks really awkward. And of course we can't take this section off and then put this section on right there, because that just, it looks weird. So it's not a problem if you're trying to build Hogwarts in the way that it looks from the movies. However, it is a little bit of an issue as far as the modularity goes. But, so that should be good for that section as far as putting things in goes. So then we're going to move on to this section here, because it has the Chamber of Secrets entrance here. So what we're going to do is, because this is the entrance, we need the bathroom to go right here. So we're going to go ahead and take off the classroom and the astronomy tower and all that. We're going to remove them, and then we'll grab the bathroom and we'll put it on top right there. And oh, looks like we lost the older version of Hermione. We'll go ahead and just put her back there. And then if we go ahead and we see, we'll go ahead and we'll just put that on right now, because there are no studs, or no pinholes, I should say, to connect to on there. So we don't have to worry about connecting right there. And so that also looks good with the descending rocks there. And so then what we're going to do is I'm going to choose to take the classroom, or the office here, and the astronomy tower right there, and I'm going to take them and remove these. I'm going to put it and that other roof section, that's going to go to the side just for now. And so the next part that we're going to integrate into our build is actually going to be this Quidditch, or the Hogwarts First Flight. I keep wanting to say Quidditch set because, you know, they learn about Quidditch in this scene. But so what we're going to do here is, firstly, we're going to remove the roofs, or the turrets from both of these towers. And then we're going to go ahead, now that we have those off, and we're going to detach the towers from the center post there. And so we'll have the door separately, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach the two towers together to make a longer bottom for that module. And at that point, I'm going to go ahead and throw the classroom on top. And if we can get it to go down. And then, real quick, because as you can see right there, that plate did not come off perfectly, which can happen sometimes with this new modular system, and it's not that big of a deal. It's just a little unfortunate when it does happen. And so then, now that we have all that put together, we're going to go ahead and connect those, if they can, come on, almost. The one at the bottom was, there we go. Okay, so now we've got those connected together. And now this is a little longer than I would like it to be, because on the actual Hogwarts, you know, there's a big tower on this side of the Great Hall. And so how we're going to make that look a little more natural is we're going to take the office and the astronomy tower, and instead of putting it right up against the Great Hall like that, we're going to go ahead and move it to the middle here, which will hopefully make it a bit of a stronger connection between these two sections here that we just put together. And then we're going to go ahead and take the other turrets from that first flight set and hook them on. And so now we've got a fully completed section of the Hogwarts castle. Now, on the actual Hogwarts castle, you'll notice that there is a bridge on both sides that goes from this section to another section of the castle. So, what we're going to do, because we don't have any bridge for this section, we're just going to go ahead and plop this door, and if we can get it to cooperate, yeah, there we go. We'll go ahead and plop that door right there, and that little bit there will act as our bridge. So for right now, we are going to push this back and then work on that second section of Hogwarts. So what we're going to do first, let's move this out, put that in front, and then move this all the way back. That way we've got plenty of room. Alright, so now we've got the fluffy Hogwarts set. The actual name escapes me right now, but now this one is really interesting because of the fact that it has a certain way that you have to put it together. And so in order to do that, we are going to need to take this tower off and take these apart, and then because that gray one has the devil's snare in it, Fluffy will go on top of it like that, and then the harp is supposed to go behind Fluffy right there. So that leaves us with a gap. And now I'm going to choose to fill that gap with the Gryffindor dorms. Now, obviously, I wish there were, you know, a set where you could have them fly around, trying to catch the right key to put right there. That way I didn't have to put the Gryffindor dorms there. But, you know, it is what it is. So we're going to then take a couple of these pins, move them around so that we can put those two together and then put them on top. And now what we're gonna do, because all we really have left now is this clock tower and hospital wing. That is all we really have left at this point in time. So what we're going to do is fairly simple, and we are just going to go ahead and take the roof and this small little tower off from that set there, and then we'll take the clock tower slash hospital wing and we will put it on top right there. If we can get that to seal down properly, and then moving it to the side, and then moving these roofs out of the way. We can then move the rest of this Hogwarts back up into place. Now it does have a little bit of an issue with the Great Hall wanting to disconnect, but then we can connect them at that door. And so if we come back just a bit, then we can see the full Hogwarts castle. And now we can see the full newest Hogwarts castle modular building. Now there is some level of issue in that those three parts get left over. You've got the roof, the tower, and the door into the Chamber of Secrets. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. It is a little tall for the shelf that I put it on, so I personally have to remove some of those turrets, but obviously if you didn't want to do that, you don't have to. Same with if you don't like the way that it's put together here, you don't have to. I personally think this is the best way to put together your full newest Hogwarts castle system. Now I really wish that we get more modules in this system. I really like it. I do wish though that Lego would give us some corners or turns, something to make it not just a giant wall. Because obviously I could, in theory, include those other roofs and make it even longer. But once again, that also feels to me as not a good use of shelf space, at least for me. For you, it might very well be. But I think for now, that's just about all that I have to say about this newer Hogwarts system. So if you guys like the video, drop a like. If you're new here, please subscribe. And yeah, I'll keep you updated until next time. Bye bye.